We're good.
Have we got that fixed? Yes. Okay. Sorry everybody for the live stream. No audio before, but now we are. We have that fixed. We think. We are in the middle of a vote in progress on approving today's agenda. So stand by for the results of that vote. We'll have someone from the administration team reach out to you guys. That's correct.
Has been passed, so we're moving on. Accept minutes from the 49th annual meeting. We will now vote on accepting the minutes which have been circulated. That motion has been made by Kim Hextall and second by Levi Jackson. The link to vote on that motion has been sent to members, so please open the email and vote on accepting the minutes of the 49th AGM. As before, then it took a few more than 2 minutes, but vote now and you'll have 2 or 3 minutes to cast your vote. Once it's approved, we will move on. That motion has been approved and carried. Moving on. I'm just give you a little bit of a president's report as to the year 2020 and going forward. This has been the most challenging year that CWA has faced in the 50-year history. It is no secret Agribition has been greatly affected by COVID-19, and the organization has faced challenges it never even imagined. I'm proud of the board, the volunteers, the staff, and the entire Agribition family for sticking with it when the going got tough. Agribition was an industry leader in the ways it faced COVID-19. We may not have been able to host a show, but we did not shut down. We created new programs, new ways to celebrate our exhibitors and volunteers and rodeo athletes. Agribition built brand-new programs to connect buyers and sellers across the world because we knew that we could make it through 2020 and COVID, we would be back. And now, as you will hear today, we are weathering the storm and ready to return for our 50th show in November. We are not done with COVID yet, but we do see a path towards Agribition, and we are all pulling in that direction. At this time, I'll hand it back to Chris for the CEO report.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and I would echo your appreciation to the whole of our Agribition community and leadership for getting us through the toughest parts of this past year, and to a place where we are reminded of and excited about Agribition's future. Now, a couple of things before I begin my report. Please remember that we are taking questions if you have them. You can email them to cwaquestions@agribition.com. You can submit a question online at our website, agribition.com/AGM, or if you are on the phone line, you can flag the operator that you would like to ask a question. As you know, the AGM is our chance to recap the past year and report to the membership and public on the results. What we are about to share with you today are the details of the most difficult loss in Agribition's history, but you will also see that there were wins and plenty of positives for CWA. Most importantly, you will see that we are able to plan and deliver a safe in-person show in November. And before I begin, I just have to take a minute and express our sympathy for everyone who is battling this virus, everyone who has lost someone because of it, and everyone who is wondering if their business will be there on the other end of it. Also, a sincere thank you to the frontline workers and healthcare professionals getting us through at this difficult time. With that, let's have a closer look at the details of 2020 and why we are confident of a return to an in-person show in November. I do have to say a heartfelt thank you to the leadership at Agribition. Our board of directors is made up of volunteers who volunteer their time and expertise. A subgroup of that board of directors is our executive committee. You've heard from our president, Chris Lees. Kim Hextall is our vice president. Bruce Holmquist is our past president. And we have 3 members at large, Levi Jackson, Marty Craddockville, and Michael Latimer, all contributing their unique perspective and expertise to our executive committee in a very tough year. Our larger board of directors is also made up of volunteers. Kelsey Ashworth, Jody Banks, Dwayne Bolazek, Jerry Flegel, Curtis Kainka, Diana Horluck, Dana LaJoy, Courtney McDougall, Garth Newell, Ali Pike, Carol Poole, Stephen Scott, Barry Young, and Grant Zelenko all deserve Agribition community's thanks for serving on the board. And of course, we wouldn't be here today if we didn't have a dedicated staff. The staff has worked year-round at the direction of the board to make sure that Agribition is in a position to come back in 2021 and deliver the show that everyone expects. We have Corey Sentez, our finance manager, Jesse Kindop, a business development associate, Carly Vorreiter, our marketing and communications manager, Melissa Fuchs, our programs associate, Shauna Fuchs, our rodeo and livestock manager. We have Carrie Hackle, our trade show manager, Cheyenne Catley, our rodeo and livestock associate, and we were also joined this year by an intern, Paige Reimer, who helped us in our communications and marketing shop. I will do a quick review of the programs that we were able to deliver, even though we weren't able to deliver a full in-person show. As Chris mentioned, we certainly didn't shut down. Agribition spent time developing and building brand new online and virtual ways that we can live into our brand as the chief marketplace for agricultural products in Canada, specifically beef genetics. We introduced several programs that had wide reach across Canada and around the world, including the Agribition Evolution Series. CWA also launched the search for the top 50 most influential people in Canadian agriculture. We had an RBC Supreme Showdown social media campaign, a junior competition in the Agribition Junior Spotlight, and today we're also announcing the launch of Agribition Connect, our virtual and online international marketplace. Throughout the year, participants and exhibitors who are used to coming to Agribition participated in these shows. We were also able to hold an in-person commercial cattle sale in November, adhering to SHA guidelines. We built and broadcast a web series, television series about the Maple Leaf Finals Rodeo, the Agribition Rodeo, and its contestants and the people behind it. And our education committee spent months building and transforming the education experience at Agribition into an online and virtual format that is now available to every student and classroom in Saskatchewan. We've also created an online marketing director for our yards exhibitors. And the heart and soul of Agribition is our 400 volunteers. And in a year where we couldn't get together and thank them personally for what they do for Agribition, we created a months-long appreciation campaign that highlighted several of our longest-serving volunteers to make sure that everybody knows that Agribition wouldn't work without them. Overall, our online programs had significant impact, with 1.2 million total impressions across 86 different countries, and just about 52,000 total engagements on all of our online programs. But we were also able in 2020 to maintain some of our in-person programming. One of the things we're most proud of is our mentorship program. We managed to deliver and complete an entire cohort of mentee training and facilitate those connections with their mentors, in addition to accepting a brand new cohort of mentees, which we will welcome to Agribition in November. And of course, we managed to maintain our relationship with several of our key stakeholders, including the government of Saskatchewan and various industry groups and participants in Agribition programs through the year. Now onto the financials, and I'll give an overview of our financial picture, but Christy from MNP, our audit service, will be here to go through the actual audited financial statement shortly, but I'll give an overall picture of where we land. You'll see that over the last several years, the last 9 to be exact, Agribition has been in a profitable position. Well, in 2020, without the ability to deliver a show, that changed quite dramatically. The net result of not being able to deliver an in-person show is a loss of $4 million in revenue. Our total revenue for 2020 is just about $464,000. Compare that to expenses of running Agribition year-round, $1.1 million. Where did we get our revenue from? Well, thanks to strong partnerships with our sponsors, nearly $200,000 of new money came in to support the programs that we were able to deliver. We have funding agreements to deliver things like international market development and mentorship, which also helped this year. We have other revenue sources like commissions from our commercial cattle sale, merchandise sales, membership sales, and so forth. On the expense side of things, far and away the largest expense at Agribition in any year is our labor and benefits. This year is no different at $664,000. And then the cost of running the office, running Agribition, just over $140,000. And then the cost of actually putting together the online presence that we did have and running the programs, more than a dozen that we did build for our exhibitors this year, just about $100,000. Outside of the normal revenue and expense breakdown, this year is unique because we have a couple of extraordinary expenses and revenues to report to. In addition to the revenue reported, Agribition was able to qualify for nearly $310,000 in 2020 in the federal wage subsidy. We're also taking a large capital asset write-down in this fiscal year, worth $368,000, meaning we're taking the full amortization of probably more than 20 capitalized assets. In summary, by the time that you take all of our revenues, expenses, amortizations, and those extraordinary expenses and revenues, we are left with a financial picture that is a $773,989 operational loss to Agribition in the fiscal year 2020. We were also able to keep our scholarship fund delivering scholarships, awards, and bursaries to the winners, and we will have paid out over $15,000 in CWA scholarships this year. The effect of that loss on Agribition's balance sheet is as follows. Our operating fund at the beginning of the year was worth $2.18 million. By the end of this year, our total operating fund balance is $1.86 million. Our scholarship fund is valued at $84,000 in cash. Our capital assets are valued at $441,000. And throughout all of this, Agribition's contingency fund set aside at $500,000 remains untouched. So we are thankful that we are able to get through 2020 without having to access our contingency fund. As I mentioned, MNP will deliver the audited statements later in this meeting, but I did want to take a minute in this report to talk about turning the page now from a clearly difficult year in 2020 to an exciting one in 2021. As Chris mentioned, it will be our 50th show and one we're very proud to deliver. Today we are announcing that Agribition will be home to Canada's newest national barbecue competition, with champions at Agribition qualifying for the World Championships in Kansas City. Maple Leaf Finals Rodeo will be back. Professional rodeo will be back at Agribition for 4 nights in the Brant Center. And as I mentioned at the top of the presentation, Agribition Connect is our brand new virtual business-to-business matching service for international buyers and domestic exhibitors. And finally, why are we confident in our ability to return to an in-person Agribition? Well, we do have some work to do. But we are confident in the vaccine rollout plans here in Saskatchewan and across Canada, and time is on our side. Agribition at the end of November, it comes at a good time in the vaccine rollout plan to be confident that we will be able to see each other once again. And finally, the work that we begin now is creating and delivering a multi-layered event safety plan that will be built to accommodate any guidelines and any restrictions, if there are any at those times in November, to make sure that we can welcome as many people and host as many events as possible at Agribition. We're confident today that we're set up to deliver Agribition's 50th in a way that looks and feels like the Agribition everybody has come to expect. And with that, I'll thank everybody for their work and determination this year to get us through, and turn it back to Chris Lees.
Thank you, Chris. Just a reminder, if you have any questions for Chris or myself, please use cwaquestions@agribition.com or let the moderator on the phone line know. We will get to questions shortly. We will now move on to the official financial report and the audited financial statement. I would like to call on Christy DePaula from MNP to present the audited statement for Canadian Western Agribition.
Thank you, and good afternoon. My name is Christy DePaula. I am a partner with MNP. So like they had already mentioned, we are engaged by the members and report directly to the members as to whether the financial statements as present fairly in all material respects in accordance with your accounting standards for not-for-profit organizations. So included in your AGM package, you do have a copy of the full set of financial statements. The second page included in there is our auditor's report, and we do issue a unmodified or unqualified audit opinion. And that just indicates that the statements do indeed present fairly in all material respects in accordance with your accounting standards for not-for-profits. Already highlighted again by Chris is the impact that COVID continues to have on many organizations around the globe. Agribition is no different. Your statement of financial position, your statement of operations are clear demonstrations on how COVID has impacted the organization, with significantly decreased revenues and corresponding expenses in that statement of operations, or your income statement, if you will. A couple odd things that we are seeing in the financial statements this year are the government subsidies. So there is some note disclosure on the subsidies that were taken advantage of during the year. And we did do some additional audit work to make sure that those subsidies that have been claimed are accurate and legitimate subsidies to be received from the government. So you've got your rent subsidy, you've got your emergency wage subsidy, and your temporary wage subsidy. So all federal subsidies received and receivable from the government at January 31st, 2021. The final kind of odd item within your financial statements is in that statement of operations, and that is the write-down expense of the capital assets. So during the year, management and the board of directors took a little bit of time to further analyze the assets held by the association. And it's at that moment when there is no clear measurable value or future value to the association, that's the point where you do consider whether a write-down is required. So the write-down of the specific assets included upgrades to arenas, upgrades to washrooms. So these are all expenses incurred by the association, but on assets that aren't actually owned by the association. So these are assets that are owned by Real, although it was Agribition's money that was used for those upgrades. Because there's no clear distinguishable future value to these assets, it was determined that these would be written off, and going forward, these wouldn't be capitalized in the future as they would be expensed as they are incurred. So that kind of summarizes our audit report along with the financial statements. I'm not sure if there are any questions in the room. If not, I'll leave it back to Chris.
Thanks, Christy.
Thank you, Christy, and your team at MMP. We now have a motion to approve the auditor's report as presented. This motion is made by Curtis Kahinka and seconded by Ali Pike. Please open the link in your email to vote on the motion now. And as before, you get 2 or 3 minutes to do so. Good. The motion has been approved, so we'll move on. Appointment of auditors for 2021 and 2022. Moved by Curtis Kahinka and seconded by Kelsey Ashworth. Once again, please open the link in your email to vote on this motion. That motion has been carried. Moving on. Have we received any resolutions? No, we have not received any resolutions. Let the record show There were no resolutions. We'll now move on to the election of directors. We have 6 seats open for 2021 and 2022 Board of Directors. This is for a 2-year term. We received 7 nominations for those seats, so we will have an election. Those nominated for the election are as follows: Curtis Kahinka, Michael Latimer, Courtney McDougall, Kim McLean, Stephen Scott, Coralie Stillborn, and Barry Young. I'm going to ask the operator if they will start letting people in to give a speech, a little talk about themselves and why they would like to be a director at Agribition. Can you allow Curtis Kahinka to come in, operator?
Curtis Kahinka, your line is live. Thank you. Well, thank you. This is definitely a new experience. Nice to be able to see the room and see who we're speaking to, but I'd like to thank, first of all, Marty Cradwell for the nomination to the board. It was, I guess, 5 election cycles ago when I really had no idea what Agribition was about, and yet I was seeking your support for this board. Now, after having different files and time spent on the executive committee, I without a doubt, I share the passion that we all do and love we have for the show. I feel I have contributed leadership and direction to the show while gaining experience to the fine details and the nuances involved in conducting such a show. In my work world, I build relationships with customers every day. What I bring to the board is the ability to foster positive relationships with our trade show exhibitors, our sponsors, and the showgoers alike. So once again, my name is Curtis Kahinka, and I humbly ask for your support. I've been very proud to represent, promote Agribition in my day-to-day life, and it'd be my pleasure to continue serving on the board of directors. Good luck to all prospective candidates. We simply all want to see the ongoing success of Canadian Western Agribition. Thank you.
Thank you, Curtis. Operator, could you let Michael Latimer in, please?
Yes, Michael Latimer, your line is live.
All right, thank you, President Lees. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Michael Latimer. I've had the pleasure to serve on the CWA board since 2015. In that time, I've served as I'm the current chair of the Jackpot Committee, and I've previously chaired the International Committee, Commercial Cattle Committee, and the Supreme Committee. And I've sat as a director at large on the Executive Committee the past 2 years. In my outside life, I'm the Executive Director for the Canadian Beef Wheat Council, where we focus on international market development and scientific advancement for the feedstock beef cattle sector. The next 2 years, it's going to be challenging for Agribition. COVID's impacted all aspects of our lives. The recovery area is going to be important to the long-term success of Agribition and agriculture as a whole. And I'd be honored to continue on the CWA board and assist in this process, and certainly look for your support in doing so.
Thank you, Michael. By the way, these speeches are coming in alphabetical order, so there was no set who was first or who was last. We just put them in alphabetical order. Our third speaker, operator, would you let in Courtney McDougall?
Yes, Courtney McDougall, your line is live.
Thank you kindly. First off, I'd like to thank Shannon McCartan for nominating me. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Courtney McDougall. I'm a very proud single mom of 2 remarkable little beings. I was born and raised on a multi-species farm 2 miles north of Regina, and a very proud and dedicated purebred sheep producer for the past 28 years. I work off the farm as a social worker and work alongside my dad the odd evening and on weekends, farm gating lamb and goat meat, which is processed through our registered abattoir on the farm to various ethnic customers and consumers. I've attended Agribition since I was 3, and the 2021 edition of Agribition will be my 33rd show. I've been an Agribition volunteer for the past 17 years, volunteered on the Agri-Ed, 4-H, and sheep committees. I've worked 2 years on the grounds crew, and I just finished my 4th term as the board of director. In my 8 years as a board, member, I have chaired the Equine, Livestock, Indigenous, Audit, Governance, and most recently volunteer committees. I was raised knowing the importance of hard work. I was encouraged to fuel my passion for agriculture and livestock by getting involved with organizations in the rural and urban communities around the farm. My parents led by example, showing us to take action to get involved, all the while ensuring that the things you say and do are in line because it's your integrity. As a mom, I work hard every day to lead by example, to pursue my passion and expose my kids to like-minded people and experiences that instill both the love of agriculture and animals, something I was blessed to naturally inherit from my parents. The whys I am looking to be re-elected today, first and foremost, my kids. In leading by example, I want them to understand the gift of time and the importance of getting involved, taking action. To show them how they can use their heads, hearts, and hands and be a part of creating and finding solutions. But most importantly, I hope that they will witness my hard work, passion, and dedication to devoting my time and energy to others in our community, which connects us all in a profound way, strengthening our connection with humanity and helps to affirm your own work. The second reason I run today is you, the stakeholders, to advocate on your behalf, to bring forward your suggestions and ideas for accountability, transparency, the sense of hope, pride, and accomplishment that comes from ensuring the future longevity of Agribition, the history and the legacy of Agribition, and the continued hard work, grit, and integrity of you, the stakeholders, continues to fuel my passion to be involved on the board. It would be my honor to be re-elected to the board today, and ultimately, I greatly appreciate your support in today's election. Thank you kindly.
Thank you, Courtney. Operator, would you allow Kim McLean to join in, please?
Yes, sir. Kim McLean, your line is live.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kim McLean, and I moved to Regina in 2013 to be the provincial cattle specialist. My partner and I recently bought a new house in East Regina. In normal times, I would be going back and forth to our Black Angus operation near Arcola as much as I could. That's a little different the past year. In my career life for the last few years has been all things forage and weather-based at SAS Crop Insurance as a research analyst. Agribition has been part of my life since the day I was born. Literally, Dad had champion crossbred steer the morning I was born, and whether it was day trips with Dad to skipping school during my PhD to go work for Chris and Tina in that damn wash rack, or taking international delegations to feedlots around Regina when I was the provincial cattle specialist, this show has had a huge impact on my life. I was a member of the Arcola Kisby 4-H Club for years, where I learned the value of hard work, cattle shows, volunteering, and everything else that goes with small towns. I volunteered whenever the opportunity has come my way. Since I was no longer eligible in 4-H, things like the Regina Spring Steer and Heifer Show, 4-H, and Junior Angus. Recently, I was elected to the Angus Board in 2020 and moved to an executive position there in January. Prior to COVID, I had started taking part in bigger and wider projects in Regina, like volunteering for the Pinty's Curling or the CP Women's Golf. It fascinates me how many people become career volunteers and how they move their teams from one event to the next. I know Agribition volunteers are no different, and looking at the time and dedication these volunteers put into it is inspiring. When I had my first conversations about being on the Agribition board, I thought, do I have time to volunteer for that? But then I got to thinking, why wouldn't I? I'm a perfect fit for this board. I value the work that Agribition does, and one thing that this pandemic has shown us is we need a reason to gather, network, show and sell cattle, but also support the city of Regina and the province of Saskatchewan. I know that I'm a hard worker with a unique skill set and know I would be a great addition to this board, whether it's from industry relationships to government processes and knowledge of cattle genetics and public trust. I've had the pleasure of working with so many of today's attendees in my various capacities and would really appreciate the opportunity to grow these connections and help move Agribition forward in these uncertain times. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Operator, would you please let Stephen Scott in?
Thank you, Stephen Scott. Your line is live.
Thank you, Chris. Good afternoon, everyone. As Chris said, my name is Stephen Scott, and I'd like to thank Levi Jackson for my nomination. I've sat on the CWA board for one term now, and I've thoroughly enjoyed my time on the board and my involvement at the committee level. In my day job, I'm the executive director of the Canadian Hereford Association. I'm also a director on the Canadian Beef Breeds Council, Beef Improvement Federation out of Kansas City, and I'm the past chair and current committee member of the Calgary Stampede Committee. I really do enjoy being involved in the organizational leadership of the industry I'm passionate about. And in my last term, I was involved with the Jackpot Committee, and I really appreciated the enthusiasm of the exhibitors, judges, and the committee members at the 2019 show. It was great to be involved in the organization of the shows and to get to experience Agribition from a new perspective. I've been attending Agribition for about 15 years now. I'm originally from Ontario and then transplanted to Calgary. I came to Agribition each year to help clip and fit cattle. When I was hired at the Canadian Hereford Association, I retired the clippers and traded them for a suit jacket to host our national show and to host lots of international buyers. I've been lucky to experience Agribition through different lenses, and no matter how I've been involved with the organization, there's no question that Agribition is truly a world-class event. This year, I was appointed as the International Committee Chair. I'm very honored to be involved in this committee, as Agribition is recognized across the world as a premier destination to source genetics and to build new partnerships. Today, I would appreciate your vote for another term on the Agribition board. I recognize that travel this fall may look different, but should I be elected, I'll work to recognize and include our international buyers in whatever fashion they can celebrate 50 years of Agribition, with us in person or online. Thank you very much for your support. I'd be honored to serve again on the Agribition board.
Thank you, Stephen. Operator, would you please allow Coralie Stillborn to join?
Thank you, Coralie. Your line is live.
First of all, I want to say good afternoon to everyone that is currently listening or participating in the Agribition AGM. I also want to thank Courtney McDougall for her nomination to the Board of Directors, and thank you to Agribition for allowing me the opportunity to join this great group of individuals. A little bit about me. My husband and I own and operate Sednadale Cattle Company at Belcaris. Through Agribition, I have had the chance to represent this group, Agribition and Canada, on a trade mission in 2017 to Australia. I have been a part of the inaugural group of the Next Gen mentorship program. I have seen all of the great opportunities that Agribition offers its attendees, its junior members, and I truly believe that this is a group that I can offer my knowledge, my hard work, and the skills that I bring to make Agribition even better than what it is.
Thank you, Coralie. Our final nominee is Barry Young. Operator, would you please allow Barry to join in, please?
Thank you, Barry Young. Your line is live. Please make sure your line is unmuted.
Sorry, sir. Good day, everyone. Hello, I'm Barry Young, and it is my pleasure to let my name stand for re-election to the current Board of Directors. I'd like to take a moment to thank Garth Newell for nominating me. The one thing I'm most proud of is the fact that I've chaired and co-chaired the Jackpot Committee for the show First Lady Classic and the President Classic shows at CWA. These shows have evolved into premier events for our exhibitors and our sponsors. The Futurity Division of First Lady has saw the winning female advance on to our famous Supreme show and actually win it. Our President Classic champion has went on to win the Grand Champion Hereford Bull Award And also, this past year, made us all very proud when he went on to win Supreme Champion Bull at the internationally at the Oklahoma City. The intrigue of the upcoming 50th show was very exciting to me. Even at my age, the excitement of this show creates an all-time high for us all. There will always be challenges moving forward, but for our own sanity and the sanity of our exhibitors and the financial stability of this show, we need a great 50th show, which I hope and plan to be a participant in if you decide to re-elect me to the board. When agriculture comes to town, folks, we come with pride and honor, the kind of honor that will show the world what Canadian Western Agribition is all about. So ladies and gentlemen, fellow board members, thank you for all your time. God bless Canadian Western Agribition for the identity it has achieved the world over. I consider it an honor to be elected to this board for another 2-year term to help preserve our wonderful past and to help open the stage door for another great 50 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Barry. That concludes our speeches for the moment. Before we call for the vote on electing directors, we have a motion to approve MMP as our ballot counters. The motion is moved by Levi Jackson and seconded by Marty Cradaville. Please open the link in your email and vote on the motion now. Everybody's getting quicker and more used to it. That's perfect. The motion has been carried. We will now have the vote for election of directors. Remember, you must select 6 names on the ballot to submit your vote. Please open the link in your email and make your selections now. We encourage you to vote. We'll give you a couple more minutes. It's typing in names, etc. It takes just a little bit longer, so we'll wait a couple more minutes so everybody can get their votes submitted. Complete. Christy has just handed me the list. The elected directors are as follows: Curtis Kahinka, Michael Latimer, Courtney McDougall, Kim McLean, Stephen Scott, and Barry Young. Thank you for that. And welcome to the board, all new members and members that have sat on the board previous to this. We are certainly looking forward to having a great 2021 at Agribition. At this time, we now have a motion to destroy the ballots. This is moved by Kim Hextall and second by Bruce Holmquist. Do we vote on that now? We vote on that now. Go to your email, etc., that you have been. The motion is carried. At this time, other business. Does anybody have any other business to bring up? Or questions from the floor? Chris, do you have any questions? Is there any?
We have one question that's come in by email, and it's from Dom Lusick at 980 CJME. And Dom just asks, tell us a little bit about the excitement and hope that we're feeling, I think, as an organization. So Chris, I could certainly talk about that for a while, but Chris, why don't you start off and talk about some of the good things we're thinking about for 21.
Wow. The good things we're looking for 21 is we're going to have a show. We're moving forward. And as I said in my earlier comments, 2020 is now behind us, and 2021, here we come. We have some new programming, as Chris announced. There will be new programming announced throughout the rest of the spring and the summer, right up till showtime. I would just suggest everybody look forward to that. And, you know, the one thing about this is you haven't had an Agribition for, it'll be 24 months from the time of the last Agribition till we hold our next one. So dust off your boots and get your hat out and come to town, because we're going to be open for business. Chris?
Yeah, I can just add a little bit to that. I think, you know, it was around June last year where we decided that obviously it wasn't shaping up like we could do the show. And that was hard for the organization. It, you know, having to unwind that and keep in mind, we had been working 6 months on doing a show. So, you know, abruptly have to unwind all the emotion and all the work that goes into delivering a show and figure out a way to be excited and still engaged in what we were about to deliver and build, and maintain the momentum so that we could come back in the following year, this year, and deliver that. I think, you know, this is, in some ways, this is the payoff, is that, you know, a year later we get to talk about getting back to what we know how to do. And I think everybody just needs to keep in mind, Agribition is built to deliver large in-person events. That's what we're all here to do, and that's our expertise. So to be able to have the chance to do that again is incredibly hopeful. And I think, too, we can't underestimate the fact that we are a forward-looking organization, that we have to plan this far out to November. That's why we're excited. You know, but at the same time, acknowledging that we're a little bit still in the thick of it here with COVID, and, you know, we don't minimize that. But again, we have the advantage of timelines and I think a pretty good vaccine rollout strategy. So that's what's giving us hope. And we thank everybody for coming along for the ride with us on this one. Operator, do we have any questions on the phone lines?
We have no questions from the phone lines at this time.
Okay, thank you. I think we can move on.
Okay, thank you, Chris. We now have a motion to ratify the actions of the board in 2020. This is moved by Michael Latimer and second by Levi Jackson. Please open your email links and cast your vote on the motion now. The motion has been carried. Just a few remarks in closing. Certainly thank you all for participating. And as I said, the voting got faster and faster the longer we were here, so that's good. Hopefully next year our AGM is in the big room with 150 people sitting in on it and taking part in it, and hopefully we can kind of go back to the old ways of running an AGM. In closing, I want to thank you all for taking part in today's annual general meeting. This last year has been one that has tested Agribition, as you have seen. What is getting us through is the commitment from our community of exhibitors, sponsors, and volunteers. If anything, it has proven the importance of this organization and the role it can play in educating and entertaining and facilitating the business of agriculture. We have all missed it, and we are all looking forward to getting back to it. You will see more announcements come in the months ahead, but new programming events and activities to 50th show. As you have heard today, we are working with our partners and governments to ensure we can safely put on a show week experience that we have all come to expect. By November, it will be time to get back to business in our own barns and trade show, get back to rodeo, and most importantly, get back to seeing each other. As we all know, this is a people business. The most important thing anyone can do to make sure Agribition bounces back from 2020 is come to the show in 2021. And on the closing note, we will move to adjourn the 50th Canadian Western Agribition, AGM. Immediately after this meeting, the Board of Directors will meet to elect its President, Vice President, and Executive Committee. These results will be shared tomorrow. The motion to adjourn the meeting has been made by Michael Latimer. Thank you for joining us all, and be sure to tune in tomorrow as your new executive will be announced then.